Hi everyone, this is the 5 Yard Pass channel where we're making our first video on all things football. We're here to preview the game of Brighton versus United at the Amex Stadium. United last time out were against Norwich. We were fortunate to win 2-1 thanks to a 190th minute goal by Captain Harry Maguire. So Sean, what do you think of the Norwich game?
Well, I think the game shows, United do have a pretty strong first 11, but I think it does show the gap between those guys and the rest of the squad. A lot of those guys played in that game, the backup type players. So we had Maguire and Fernandez, but basically everybody else was a second string player. And a lot of them were not really up to the speed of the United team that we've been seeing over these last 14 games who've gone undefeated. So when the first team players came in, I think they started taking the initiative, particularly after the send-off, and got the result in the end, but probably more of a cost than what they would have wanted.
Yeah, for me, I love Igalo. So for me, I think Igalo's man of the match. I was a bit disappointed with Luke Shaw and Scott McTominay, which we'll probably talk about a bit later. But I thought Igalo. He scored a goal about every 80 minutes he's played in all competitions, but he's done well, and I'm a big fan of him. Anyway, so a few things we wanted to talk about. Norwich is out of the way, so the lineup for this game. Then, what do you think is going to happen? And I'll give my views, I guess, after you.
I think most people would agree. There's probably about 7 positions I think are locked in. I think De Gea, Bissaka, Maguire, Pogba and Bruno, and Martial and Rashford are probably lock-ins. There's probably about 4 positions up for grabs. Pretty surprised Williams hasn't played yet, to be honest. Shaw's played every minute of every game so far, so I don't know.
I think Williams for me is a victim of his own versatility, because he's a right-footed left back. You can almost play him in a wing-back position on either side. So he's kind of always, kind of a Phil Neville, John O'Shea type, where you could almost play him anywhere and you wouldn't be, because he's so versatile. He's second best at everything rather than being the best fullback of the club.
The jack of all trades, as they say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Interesting if that youth team thing, because they paid 30 million quid for Shaw many moons ago. So you wonder if that the money they put in Shaw and the wage gets him more of a game against Williams, who's still probably on some sort of youth type contract or something close to it. So you wonder if that plays a role.
He just signed a few months ago when they had that string of signings. So like him, James Garner, Chong, and a few others all signed at once within a space of a few weeks. So I think he's on a proper contract of good money now, but still obviously nothing compared to Shaw or Bissaka.
Sure.
Yeah.
And Shaw does need time to get better. He's that type of player. He's a bit of a Rooney in that he gets better the more he plays. So. Yeah,
he needs to play string. He's got that body type that kind of just holds with a few extra kilos as well. A bit like my body type. Yeah. I wouldn't disagree. I think it's going to be Shaw, Lindelof, Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, De Gea. It's going to be Matic in the middle there. Fernandez, Pogba, Green will probably start. Martial and Rashford.
What do you think about Bailly versus Lindelof?
I think Bailly's a better defender. I just think injuries and consistency. I'd almost put him in for a big game. Do you remember that Chelsea game? It was Igalo's debut back in February. We won 2-0, I believe.
Maguire
Bailly was the best player on the ground. Besides Igalo. Igalo is always the best player when he plays. But
when he plays well, he just looks like a man amongst kids. Like he just stalks around the pitch and he just intercepts and just
the Chelsea
dominates
game, you mean?
When he's doing really well.
Yeah, he's an athletic freak as well. Yeah, he's a freak of nature. Like athletically, he's fast, he's strong. He doesn't look very strong, but he is. He's a fast black man. So there you go. A couple of things we wanted to talk about. First thing was big news coming out today was Gomes didn't sign a contract and he looks to leave today or tomorrow maybe. So what do you think of
that? He seems to have been holding off for something. I'm not really sure what it is, and I don't know if it's opportunity. He doesn't strike me as the type that's going to go for purely money, and he's not really in that situation. So there must be something going on back doors that's not working out for him. It could be Bruno coming in. You never know. He might just see that as something closing on his opportunity. United have several players who do his role in Marta, Lingard, Pereira. So
I hope he does well. I hope he does well. But I hope he does well at Chelsea, because I think he's going to Chelsea. It seems like it. I think they'll probably pay him, 80, 100 grand to have him there because he's good. He's a good player. Just hasn't had his chances, had a few injuries. Yeah, and I guess with Fernandez coming in and the idea of them buying someone like Sancho, even though it's not the same position, he's probably wondering like, what's going on, and I'm not playing as much.
Yeah, you think the team being on the way up in general, if you're not part of that, you start looking around elsewhere. It's interesting because Chelsea are a team, if he does go there, that have a lot of players in attacking positions as well. So you'd wonder what he would be told if he was going to Chelsea.
Yeah, I somehow feel, and I hate myself for thinking, but I somehow feel he would fit better in Chelsea and just the ethos that they have. I just have a feeling. I can't explain why, but if you think about the type of people they're building the team around, it's not one single person in particular. They seem to have probably about 10 attackers, heavily rotated team. They're gonna they'd be up there next year. And if Gomes is there, good for him. But are we going to need Gomes for the next 5 years? Probably not. He's not going to be 3 years. Maybe he's not going to be the number 1, number 10. So probably best. Yeah. Who knows? You could have a Pogba part to come back for 100 million.
Yeah, you never know. But and it's not. I don't know if it's confirmed he's gone yet, but all the signs seem to point that way. So
yeah. We're not. Wish I had an inside track to that one, but yeah, it's unfortunate that he's going. The next point that you wanted to bring up, what was that you wanted to say? You had a few points.
My point was more around sort of the run home for the UCL sort of spots. You've got Leicester in third. You've got I think it's like Chelsea United or Chelsea Wolves United, given Wolves won on the weekend.
Yeah.
So at the start of this post-COVID type situation, probably Sheffield, Arsenal, and Tottenham were there as well. I think they've fallen off a bit. So you probably got 4 teams chasing 2 or 3 spots, depending on how Manchester City's appeal goes, how the UEFA Cup finishes. So.
Oh, I forgot about Man City's appeal. Oh, I completely forgot about that. I completely forgot about that. So
that's another video, that one, because I think that's going to have an impact on the squad significantly. But
I personally think United will get that spot. I think Chelsea's had this pattern of going a few games where they play really hot and then they just kind of drop off, and they dropped off big time against who did they just play Leicester? They dropped off big time.
They won against Leicester in the FA Cup, but they beat City.
Yeah, but the performance was very average. But the game before so I'm just saying they've had this pattern of going 3 or 4 really hot games and then just dropping off. And I think it's good they're in the semi-final because that'll stretch them with the running they have. That is United's hardest game. In the next 10 games, that's our hardest game.
Chelsea have we've got 3 mid-table teams: Watford, Crystal Palace, Sheffield United. Then they got Norwich, who are gone. Their last 2 games would be very important because they're playing Liverpool and Wolves. Wolves will probably have something to play for. They'll probably still be around. Liverpool may not if they achieve
Liverpool. Yeah.
But Liverpool going for the points record, you never know.
Yeah, it just depends on where they are at the moment. Like, let's say 2 or 3 games left, Liverpool just rotated to try new players out. It could be easy for them, could not. But I'm confident United will get it.
So it'll be interesting how they finish the season now, what they want to achieve, and how they may want to set themselves up to really dominate next year. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out.
Yeah, actually, a point I wanted to bring up as well was Scott McTominay. Big fan of his. I think he's like he stepped into that Herrera role really well. He's just being what do you call it? Bit of a what's the word for it? Bit of a piece of shit to players, like to the other team. I mean, he just man marks and he just runs all day. He probably covers 18 kilometers a game, 16, 18 kilometers a game in like that Gerrard kind of level of cardio.
He's not the first player you pick on the 2 side, but he's the player that you want on your team, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly. But he's interesting. For me, he's never played to his big game capacity in the small games. He's never done it for me, and I think he's perfect for the small games because he's perfect for the big games when you have him on a De Bruyne or him on a Henderson, Wijnaldum, those kind of guys, because he's almost a headless chicken. Almost reminds me of like a Tevez or Alan Smith from 10, 15 years ago when they would they just run all day. And I think when he gets the ball in smaller games, he doesn't have that. He doesn't have that the ability just yet to know what to pass off next to. Like
Yeah.
he's almost a bit clueless. But I mean, that's the age. He's 22 or 23, and if he's almost, for me, he's one of the best players for what he does well in the league.
That goal against City was a really good shot. I mean, it was a good finish, but it shows how well he can read the game. That he saw where the ball was going, beat the player to it.
Absolutely.
It's almost as if he can read the game well, but he hasn't necessarily got the tools to take advantage of it yet. And that's quite typical for a younger player coming through. Mm-hmm. It'll be interesting to see what he develops into, because he could be a classic number 6. He could be more of almost like a Fred type player when he gets going. It'd be interesting to see how he develops over the years.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. As well. To add to that, with Gomes leaving, I'd like to see. I think everyone would like to see more of Chong playing as well, because Greenwood, as you say, generational talent. He's gonna hopefully he stays at United for as long as he plays. But I'd like to see Ty Chong come off the bench a bit more.
I think it's his position, Chong.
Chong's the number 10, and he plays off the right as well. She's kind of does a bit of everything. He was in doubt to sign a new contract as well. I remember Juventus was in for him before COVID.
Last
Juventus signed Pjanic today. He did a swap deal for Arthur. Did you read that?
No, what was that again?
So Juventus bought Arthur for 80 mil, and it wasn't a swap deal actually. It was 2 separate deals, but I wouldn't know how they balanced the books there. But I think
I don't know how Juventus balance the books, man. It's absolutely crazy. The salaries they get, the players they get.
Sorry. Arthur's going to Juventus. Arthur's going to Juventus for 80 mil, and Pjanic, who's that 30-year-old, I think he's quality. He's going the other way for 72, I think. So it's like an 8 million balance. You're an accountant. It must be something to do with the fact that they can write down 80 mil. It has to do with Barcelona needing 70 mil this transfer window. So I think if you can just write down that you have 70 mil coming in, you know what I mean? Is that something?
Oh, for the FFP, yeah.
Yeah. So that's it's a bit of witchcraft going on there.
They seem to read those situations really well. Even the way that Ronaldo just showed an awareness of what they had to do. Even guys like Emre Can from Liverpool, they seem to Ramsey from Arsenal. They just seem to know what they need to do to get that player at that time, and they just pull it off.
I'm just before we get to predictions and finish up, I'm just a bit concerned. Why haven't we? There's nothing concrete coming in for a club that apparently hasn't done it. For United, obviously, for a club that hasn't been affected that much by the window. Why hasn't Sancho been, why isn't that moves being made? Hakimi's gone from Madrid to Dortmund. Muni's gone to Dortmund. Chelsea's got Werner. Liverpool have come out and said today, actually, Klopp came out and said today, we're not probably going to buy anyone. We're going to promote youth. But United haven't really done anything. And I'm just hoping, because I think, like I've said this time and time again, 2 or 3 players short of a team, of a solid first 15 players,
Yeah.
So
we're probably that. Yeah, that's exactly right. I think probably 2. I think that we're probably 2 away. Probably that right winger that we always talk about, and just a bit more depth in midfield. Just someone who complements Pogba and Fernandes, and just plays at a higher level than the options that they have at the moment. Defense, I think they're okay if Bailly stays fit, but if they don't think he will, they probably need someone there. But I think
and one last thing, actually. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, you're right about if Sancho's coming, the only thing I can think of, the only reason I could think of them not announcing it was just to finish the Bundesliga season, but we're pretty much there now. So
exactly.
I don't know what the holdup is.
Yeah. Because I think if you don't get, United will undoubtedly get 1 or 2 players this transfer window. And I don't mean marquee players. I think a Daniel James type might come in. But if they don't announce 1 or 2 players, I think you've done a disservice to Solskjaer, because he's done incredible with like the culture that he inherited to turn it around to what it is right now.
Like there are guys, there's several players. If you walked in United and now and tore up about 6, 7, 8 contracts and just threw them out, no one would bat an eye.
Exactly. Pereira's and the Lingards and all those guys. I think you got to back the manager big time. whatever it is, Sancho,
They've,
Grealish,
they've, they've got
whoever it
young
is,
youth.
you know.
They can bring in youth, and they bring in. I would think they
But
need definitely
I
those
also
two
think
signings.
to that point, I don't understand why. I don't understand why like Liverpool went and bought Van Dijk and Alisson in a single transfer window and just transformed the team. I don't understand why United can't have that mentality. We're going to go transform a team. Spend, you know, they haven't had that in a while. I guess since like Louis van Gaal, when he spent the 200 million, it was just 6 shit players, you know, Schneiderlin and
But I
Falcao and
think
Di
I
Maria.
think that's what everyone's worried about, right? Let's say, for example, Van Dijk and Alisson were flops. You know, that transforms the team the other way, and United have had that experience. I think there's a bit of FOMO going on, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate. But
Mm-hmm.
the whole world knows that this guy's about to explode. The thing about European players coming to England is, can they handle the English mentality of football? Sancho's
Mm-hmm.
London boy who played with Manchester City. He's unique in that sense that he'd be a big money signing from Europe who knows
Yeah.
English football intimately.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. And what do you think the score will be tonight?
I do think United will win, but I do think that they will be pushed quite hard. Brighton play a high press. They'll probably try and catch them in possession a bit. It'll be a tiring game. I see them winning by a goal, whether it's 1-0 or 2-1. I'm leaning to 2-1, but I'm
Yeah, I
thinking
was
a
going to say
single
the same.
goal.
I'll go 3-1 just to be different. Perfect. So 3-1. Who do you think will score?
I think Martial or Rashford will get one. I think Martial at the moment. Rashford just seems slightly off for whatever reason. And I'm hoping he'll get through that. He's quality, so he will, but I hope he gets through that sooner. I just feel that the other goal is going to come from, it's an away game, so you're going to get that scrappy set piece goal that, you know, falls on Maguire's feet 5 yards out or something like that.
Igala hat trick.
Yeah, Igala hat trick. I love it. Yeah, you mentioned about Igala, man. He's so underrated. I've not seen fans take to a player that quick. Bruno and Igala. So everyone was saying that January was a big experiment, but somehow just really worked out. These two cult heroes have come in.
Sorry, I'm going to add to that as well. I think credit to Ollie for like identifying a guy who not only has the skill but has the attitude. Because you always knew Fernandes had the attitude. 26 or 25-year-old best player in the Portuguese league. You knew he had the attitude. But to identify this guy from China, is he the most skillful guy? No. Is he like more of a Ruud Nistelrooy type? Probably. But taking a pay cut, he's probably like put the likes of like Jesse Lingard to go like, what the fuck? Like, this guy's come in, he's being paid less than half than me, but he's scoring more goals and he's more passionate than I ever will be.
What's amazing is, like, normally, like, you look at the you look at players in the past. Normally, players like guys like Scholes and were from the Manchester area. Neville was from the Manchester area, and then you had these players who were sort of the local lads who were from different parts of England that had come in at younger ages. You know, even the Busby Babes had a lot of guys like Charlton was from the north, and I think Duncan Edwards was from Black County, Derby area. So these guys were taken in as local lads, but United was a pioneering club in terms of getting that overseas appeal. People don't understand, you know, you go to China, you go to Singapore, you go to anywhere in the world, you know, there are Red Devil shirts everywhere. And it's the way that this guy who's grown up in Nigeria has come to Manchester, just been treated like one of us, you know. It's just
he's
something we're going to see a lot more of. Like, not just like a player who says I like Man United. Like, it's like his blood is Red Devil. It's not red, you know. Like, it's just
like
amazing.
Nigeria is the most populous country in Africa, and they overwhelmingly support United. Anyway, to wrap up, so you're saying 2-1, was it, Sean?
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1.
I'm saying 3-1. So on that note, we shall end the first ever video. Thanks for watching, everyone. This is the 5-yard pass previewing Brighton versus United, the Amex Stadium. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys.